Hi, and welcome to the lesson on calculating disposable income. So what is our goal for today? I can determine net and disposable income when provided with a real-world example. So what we're looking at today is doing some more financial calculations, using some examples to help you out with that. So what is disposable income? All right, well, disposable income is money left over after all expenses are paid. So disposable income is money left over after all expenses are paid. And that would include, so for example, it could be rent, mortgage, gas, etc., etc. So once you've paid all your bills, whatever's left over, okay, is what your disposable income is. So that's money that you can spend in any fashion that you want without any repercussions or penalties. So I have an example here to work through. So Lindsay's annual salary, so each year she is going to make $37,500, and her biweekly pay deposits are $1,153.85. So every 2 weeks she gets a paycheck for that. Calculate the following. So A part, we want to find out her monthly income. So biweekly means every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. All right, so every 2 weeks, Lindsay will get that particular paycheck. Now, we know that there are 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year. So what we need to do for biweekly payments, and this is where you got to be careful, biweekly, so that means that she will receive 26 payments, okay, because she's being paid every second week. So if we look at 52 weeks, therefore there are 26 biweekly, so half of 52. So I'm just kind of leading you along here. So the payments, the biweekly payment, there's 26 biweekly payments. So when I want to make this calculation, I have to figure out how much she's going to, what's her deposit worth each year. So they're already deductions. So I'm going to take the 26 payments, multiply them by 1153.85. When I perform that calculation, 1153.85, I get 30,000. $30,000. All right. Now I want to know what her monthly income is. Her monthly income. So this is how you calculate your monthly income when you're being paid bi-weekly. All right. So you take the 30,000 now. This is how much she is bringing home each year, and we divide it by 12. So 30,000, divide that by 12, and we end up with $2,500 a month. Okay, so there's step one.
Congratulations.
And here is your step number 2. All right, so those are the 2 steps that you need to do with biweekly payments in order to figure out your monthly income. All right, so that's the answer to question A. What are her deductions in pay? Calculate the percentage deductions. So percent deductions. The formula is net pay over gross pay multiplied by 100. So there's the formula. We're definitely going to we'll get this onto an anchor chart so it's handy. So when I calculate that, percent deduction. Now I know her net pay. Her net pay is the 30,000. Okay, we've calculated it over here. So there's your net pay. That's how much she makes each year. So it's the 30,000 divided by her gross pay, which was 37,500. So that's from the original question, multiplied by 100. So 30,000 divided by 37.5 times 100. Okay. And that gets us 80%. So that's 80% of her percent deduction. Actually, that's not going to work for us. Look, I need to change that up slightly. I apologize. Try that again. We'll fix that formula up so that it's correct here. Okay. It is your gross minus net pay. My mistake. Okay, so it would be 37,500 minus the 30,000. So we only wanted to do, we wanted to divide how much was taken off the paycheck. So that would be 7,500 divided by 37.5. So we end up with 20%. So therefore, Lindsay has 20% deduction. All right, and that's not too unreasonable for your average pay job. Okay, having that 20% deduction, it could range anywhere from 10 to 30%, depending on what type of job you're in and what you're getting deducted for. C part then, calculate her disposable income if her monthly expenses are $19.05. So monthly expenses is $19.05. So our disposable income, is equal to net minus expenses. So our net pay here, we talked about this each month, is $2,500. So here is net monthly pay. All right, minus the expenses of $19.05, which would leave us with 2,500 minus, oh, I don't know why I'm using the calculator for this. Okay, $595. Okay, so therefore, Lindsay will have each month almost $600 in disposable income, meaning that she can go out and she can buy $600 in clothes, or she can go and buy jewelry. It's really up to her, but that money is hers to spend how she wants. She can invest it because everything else has been taken care of. All right? And that's what you're really concerned with when you're making your budget, is that disposable income. Last example I have here, 3 parts. Nick has made the following budget. So if Nick makes $26,200 each year, use the budget to answer the question. So Nick has gone through and he set aside, this is what he's going to do. He's got his items, everything he's spending, and the budget. So he's got rent, utilities, food, must live in a city, clothing, entertainment, personal, and investments. So he's got everything taken care of there in his budget. So A part, calculate his biweekly net income if he has 12% deductions to pay. All right, so how do you do this? His biweekly. So first of all, we have to take 12% off of his net pay. So 26,200 multiplied by 0.12. So if I do that times 0.12, he is having $3,144 in deductions. Therefore, so we have to take that off the top in deductions, and that would be over the year. Deductions each year. All right, so we take 26,200, and we're going to subtract off 3,144, and what that will give us is our net pay. So that means his net pay will be $23,056. All right, so that's his net. All deductions are gone. Now we want to know his biweekly payment, so that's where we're heading with this. So calculate his biweekly. We then take his net pay, $23,056, and we divide it by 26, and that will tell us his biweekly paycheck. So he will be getting $886. So 886. 6.77 per month. So there's, or sorry, that's not per month, that's every 2 weeks. So bi-weekly. Weekly. All right, so there's your answer right there. So every 2 weeks he will get a paycheck for just under $900. Determine his disposable income each month, assuming his budget's correct. So we go expenses. We got to figure out his total expenses. So I'm just going to add up the numbers from his budget. So I'm not even going to do it on here. I'm going to actually do it in the budget itself. So I'm going to add all these numbers up to get his total expenses. And I get monthly expenses of $1,585. So that would go in here, 1,585. So disposable, again, is your net minus expenses. And we have to figure out his net income. Well, we know his net pay was $23,056. We're going to divide that by 12 because we need to know it in terms of monthly. So when we divide that by 12, we know that each month his net pay will be $19.21. So actually, when you get biweekly payments, it actually makes the math a little bit trickier because you have to convert back and forth. So $1,585 would mean that his disposable income would come in at $336 each month. Okay, so there's the final answer there. So that would be his disposable. Final one, Nick discovers that his expenses are 7.5% over budget, so he didn't anticipate it properly. Determine if he needs to make a lifestyle change. Well, now I need to increase his expenses, the $1,585 times 0.075, so $1,585. So I'm figuring out how much of an increase it is, because it's over by 7.5%. I get an increase of $118.88. So therefore, the extra expenses are still less than his disposable income. All right, so above there in B part, we found that he had $336 disposable income. Increase of $120 isn't going to hurt. It just means that his disposable income now is less. It's now 336 minus that increase of 118.88. So when we do that, it just means that each month he only has $217 that he can play with. So it's gone down a little bit, but he's still safe. He doesn't have to kind of restyle his whole life because of that. So these are the kind of calculations you're going to have to deal with as you start to own property, as you start to get a job, work bi-weekly, etc., etc. So it'll be a little bit challenging because there are some percentages moving back and forth between weekly or monthly and bi-weekly. It takes a little bit of practice, but like I said, most pays are bi-weekly, so it is important that you're able to convert back and forth. All right, good luck. And if you have any questions with the homework, let me know.